Good evening, VC. It's Mark here on the Dr. Rhythm channel, doing a solo video with some updates, some of the new records I've managed to acquire. We're listening to some Freddie Hubbard, the album Hubcap on Blue Note. Julian Priester, Jimmy Heath, Cedar Walton, Larry Ridley, Philly Joe Jones. This is a part of a haul of 40 jazz records that I got last week. I went to see my mum and she told me that there was some records that she had. Would I like some records? Went down to the cellar and discovered there were 40 jazz records that were my dad's. He passed away 15 years ago. I had no idea we still had these records, so it was a bit of a good surprise, and a lovely surprise because it was Father's Day, so it kind of was a really nice way to remember him. Yeah, and amazingly, although they looked like they could be a bit damp, they seem to be cleaning up very well. So yeah, I'll definitely be sharing a few more of those over the next few months as I get to grips with them all. But there's been a lot of new purchases. This is a VC-inspired purchase. The band are called Wata. It's Zach Riles, Tyler Trotter, and Britt Walford on drums, guitar, and keyboards. There's also some Tony Levin guesting on bass on one of the tracks. Quite a sort of cinematic album. It's all instrumental, all live played, but with a definitely kind of electronic textures weaving in, kind of quite ambient in places, but then also quite intense in other places. Yeah, I'm still kind of listening, but thank you, Roger Coleman, for recommending this. That's Wata. Yeah, quite a few new albums for this year. I've been waiting for this one. Taylor McFerrin. It's called Early Riser, and I guess it sort of fits in the. Well, it's on Brainfeeder, which is the Flying Lotus record label. It features Robert Glasper, Thundercat, Napalm. It's got Mark Gilmore on drums. It's got Bobby McFerrin on vocals on one of the tracks, and it's a pretty gentle album. I believe the process that Taylor used was to play live quite a bit and then choose segments of his live playing, loop them, mess with them, bring in some guests, and it's quite dense, quite multi-layered. Definitely requires a few listens. It can kind of slip by otherwise, and you haven't noticed that the album's finished. But yeah, I heard a track on Giles Peterson's show, which we have here on Six Music, on BBC Six Music, and it really grabbed my ear. So I immediately put a pre-order in for that. So yeah, it's a nice original album. Here we've got Judith Owen and her latest album, which is called Ebb and Flow. It's a double album, very nice thick cardboard, heavy duty vinyl. She's married to Harry Shearer, who I think has got a Simpsons connection. Anyway, she clearly has a budget, because she is also clearly influenced by early 70s kind of Carole King, James Taylor, Joni Mitchell in terms of her songwriting, and she basically pulled together the original backing band who used to do all of those early sessions. So Lee Sklar on bass, Russ Kunkel on drums, and who's on guitar? The original guitarist, whose nickname seems to be Waddy. Anyway, it's mastered by Bernie Grunman. It seems to have a very strong kind of analog sound. And there's 2 or 3 really good tunes on here. I heard about it through Richard Williams's blog. He's a really excellent music journalist. He's been around for a while, and he has a blog called The Blue Moment that I know John's mentioned before. So yeah, if you like that kind of style, then you'll definitely like this album. Another good female artist an artist who I absolutely adore actually, and that is Michelle Ndegeocello. And this is her brand new album's just come out. It's called Comet Come to Me. It's a double album. It's like with every Michelle album, you never quite know what you're going to get. She's constantly experimenting and, exploring new kind of ways of expressing herself musically, bringing different collaborators together. Very rarely does one album ever sound like the last one. I would say with this album, it's a bit like a composite of all of her different albums, actually, from the sort of funkiness and the kind of spoken rap aspect of Plantation Lullabies through her kind of reggae dub period, her kind of post-punk experimental period, her kind of more kind of organic sound that she had with her Nina Simone covers album. It sounds fantastic, really amazing. Probably of all of these albums, this sounds the best on my setup. Really high quality. Always lots to listen to. She does an amazing version of the Houdini track Friends, but in a completely original take on that. Otherwise it's pretty much original stuff. It's got Jonathan Wilson, the guitar player, whose album I was very keen on from the beginning of this year, guesting on guitar on a few tracks. Amp Fiddler is on here on keyboards. Yeah, I mean, I just think she is one of the few contemporary artists who is a real risk taker, and you can always, whatever she does, it's going to be interesting. And just to say, if she's ever on live anywhere near you, you really should check her out. She's a very compelling, fantastic live performer. So that's Michelle. Another female artist. I don't know much about this woman. She's called Joan as Policewoman, and the album's called The Classic. It's just come out. There is Joan, surrounded by some very nice keyboards. A large gold helium balloon. She apparently has been around a few years. She's no spring chicken. She's got a fantastic voice, very good songwriter. It's got a definite soul vibe to it. It's got some nice live horns. It's got some great sort of experimental beatboxing ad-libbing from Reggie Watts on a couple of tunes. Both the Michelle and the Joan album arrived today, so I've only heard them a couple of times each, but they're definitely going to be albums I'm going to be going back to, and I think I would recommend both of those highly. There's a new record shop that's appeared in Canterbury, which is near where I live, specialising in second-hand vinyl, and I've just recently picked up a couple of King Crimson albums. So this is In the Wake of Poseidon. Fantastic track, Cat Food on here. And this is Lark's Tongues in Aspic, the original Pink Island label, UK press. My friend John has given me a fantastic King Crimson book written by a fan, and it's really got me wanting to get into all of their music. I know Jonas is a huge fan. as the first album cover is his VC icon. I'd known Robert Fripp for a while, particularly with his work with Eno, but I haven't really ever got into King Crimson. I'm just so pleased that I'm getting into them. What an original, fresh band, and how, again, very risk-taking, and always sounding different with each album, and actually often quite sort of major personnel changes, with obviously Robert Fripp being the constant thread. But yeah, great stuff. Some fantastic. I'd never heard Greg Lake singing so well, so much better than when he was with ELP, and John Wetton as well, and Jamie Muir, Bill Bruford on drums, fantastic. Yeah, this is definitely a VC inspired purchase. It's Art Farmer, and the album's called Gentle Eyes, and I think it's the track called Soul Sides that really hooked me. I can't remember who showed this. It was either Chris JC68 or Fred, but actually most of the album has quite a sort of more of a kind of lounge vibe to it, quite highly orchestrated and arranged, but I particularly like that track. It's a very kind of funky breakbeat track. Yeah, so Art Farmer, Gentle Eyes, on Mainstream Records. Another jazz album, Zawinul, by Joe Zawinul, his first solo album, I believe. Yeah, 2 drummers, Herbie Hancock, Echoplex, ring modulators, Woody Shaw's on here, Miroslav Vitus, Jack DeJohnette, kind of twin keyboard, very much the jazz meets electronic jazz intersection of the early 70s, 71. I just think Joe Zawinul's a genius, and I've got another copy of this, but it's very scratchy and crackly. This one is a little less crackly, but not that much, which is a bit of a disappointment, and I've since discovered, just looking online, that it was notoriously poorly pressed, this album, so maybe I really should have just got the CD. But anyway, it's great, and I just love that period. I'm fascinated by that period of music and the kind of risks and the sonic explorations everybody was going on. So highly recommended. And last of all, just because it was sounding so fantastic on my stereo, is Cameo, the funk group from the 70s, who I think are still going now, but this was the time when they were definitely very inspired by Earth, Wind and Fire. Had an amazing horn section, and the track Sound Table, just a phenomenal tune, actually, a fantastic arrangement, such a crisp sound. We used to have a fantastic pirate radio station in London called Kiss FM, and there was one particular DJ called Daddy Bug, and his theme tune was this track, Sound Table. Have a listen on YouTube. Hello everybody, to Jonas and Mike Bostonian, Reggie, and Mr. Fartboy and his epic 50-minute video. Secca Funk, fantastic to see you regularly posting again. Champ Sound, looking forward to seeing what Ben Costello really looks like. Be nice to see Fred back. He seems to have slipped off the radar. But anyway, some good VC videos up there. I can relax now that England are out of the World Cup. It's a classic thing that happens every couple of years, whether it's Europe or the World Cup. Everyone gets very excited that England are going to do well, and this year in particular we've done disastrously, but at least the pain has been over pretty fast. We're already out and we've only played 2 matches. So love to everybody. Please comment. See you soon.